Hello, I'm back with more robots and guns and things. Got a lot to show you this time that's actually exciting. No UI, I promise. The last time I went to record, the guy above me decided he wanted to mount some shelves on his floor, so we'll see how this attempt goes. I've done lots of things this update. As always, if you want to read a log of what's changed instead of watching the video, check out the Game Jolt page. It'll be in the description, but you know how this works. First off, at the request of Captain Titus, or Cupatitus, Captain Titus? Probably Captain Titus, based on whether you want to pronounce things wrong or not. There is now significantly more feedback when you take damage, so you'll see here when I get hit by the drone, I flash red and there's a little bit of screen shake, so that's cool. I also want to do this with enemies, but I'm not quite sure how to give some kind of feedback when you're hitting enemies. The go-to method is hit markers, but hit markers are sort of weird with top-down games, so I'm not sure how to implement that. If you have any ideas, like you know a game that does top-down hit markers really well or something like that, let me know and I'll take it into consideration. Maybe I'll do that in the next update instead of, well, nothing. Next, I've added models to every existing ability. There's all the offensive abilities. You already know about this. There's models for the defensive abilities now, and I tried to make them look like armor, so it made you look a little more beefy, so that's cool. And now the two evasive abilities that I've got now have models as well. So the dash, I changed a tiny bit to make it so it just goes in the direction of your stick instead of the direction of your velocity. So if you're standing still, you can dash in a direction really quickly, which is good. Dashing in a direction based on velocity when you're standing still takes you nowhere. And the blink is really cool, and I'll show you that now. It's just an instant teleport in a direction that teleports you through objects. So let's go over here. And here you can see me blinking, and there's a cool particle effect. Also, I fixed Frago, so he reliably shoots out radials of bullets. That's nice. Speaking of particles, I've made a new weapon, the Tesla gun. The creation of this gun actually went off without a hitch. Everything went super duper smooth. Oh. What the fuck? Alright, here we go. Oh god, no, fuck, Jesus fucking Christ! Whoa, okay. What the fuck? So that's nice. It chains lightnings to nearby enemies, so each one in the chain gets damaged less, and it's just really fun for crowd control. I've also added a machine gun, which I talked about before. Ooh, there we go, machine gun. So I talked about this in an earlier video. It's basically like a downgraded version of the minigun. This is probably going to be the gun you start with. I really wanted to have, like, the minigun's strong, it's really strong, it just kind of plows through shit, so I wanted that to be more of like a mid/endgame weapon. This one's like, does a little more damage, and it's just more accuracy based. It's more accurate than the minigun flies around everywhere. But it's boring, there's not much to it. Looks nice though, so. Now I haven't added any sound effects to the Tesla gun, obviously, but I know I said I'm not going to do any sound effects in previous videos, but I started making sound effects with my mouth, so listen to this. This is the new offensive ability, the burst missiles. Made it all with my mouth. It's wonderful, I love it. Now I had a lot of fun with particles on this one. By the way, dynamic zoom, you can change that whenever you want. The particle effects are just really cool with this. I really like it. I had a lot of fun. I'm just now learning particles, so like I'll probably change a lot of the particle effects that are going into the game right now, because the low poly kind of like flat texture look of the game really complements cartoony particles, so I'll probably keep going with that. This is definitely my favorite offensive ability thus far. I love it. Obviously the sound effects, they sound okay, but they're not final, they're just placeholders for now, so as we get later into the game I'll probably add better sound effects, or maybe I'll just get better at making sound effects. I'd love to pay somebody to make all the sound effects for me, but well, you know. Now the last thing I added, the last big thing anyway, is something I almost didn't add this update, and I teased it last video. It's melee. Now, originally, I thought it was going to be very difficult to make melee. Turns out you can make everything animation based, you don't have to do any coding, you can just have everything fire off triggers, and it's really cool. So you'll see here I've got power attacks, you can charge up the sword and let it go, and it does a little extra damage compared to its base swing, and it swings back and forth. It chooses randomly from left and right animations, which is really cool. You can block bullets with it if you want, and it really complements long-ranged weapons. The Tesla is not a long-ranged weapon, so not a super idea for using melee, but it's fine. It feels really fluid, the trail looks crisp and cool, and it's just another situational thing you can do when you're surrounded by different types of enemies. Now you can just use melee if your gun just won't cut it for close range. So that's about it for big things. There's a lot of smaller stuff I've added though. One thing I've been doing every update that I probably shouldn't be doing at this early stage in the game is optimization. Typically at this point in the game you want to focus on doing things that are like big and flashy, stuff that you can show in trailers, that sort of thing. And I haven't been doing that. I haven't been doing that as much as I should be. I've just been adding smaller things that make the game smooth. But god damn it, optimization, it makes me feel good. It's like, you know when you get a friend and he's like, you're playing a shooter game or something and you're like, oh man, there's something around that corner, you're gonna die, and you tell him like 3 or 4 times. He fucking knows. He heard you the first time that he shouldn't go around that corner. But damn it, it makes you feel better to tell him 3 or 4 times. It's not for him, it's for you. Or if you've got somebody that's carrying something breakable up the stairs, you're like, don't drop it. You knew he wasn't gonna try to drop it, it just makes you feel better. Makes you feel better. I mean, it's sort of not like that at all, but, you know, I hope I'm getting my point across. Other things I've changed is I changed up the second arena to make it less horrible. It still looks kind of bad, but the lighting is better, and it's just basically to test out stuff that works in a tight area, so it looks less fucking broken, which is super. The missiles, it really kind of highlights the fact that the missiles are not good for when there's walls around, because they just slam into them instead of hitting what you want them to hit. It's cool. It looks nicer. It's not going to be in the final game, it's just for testing. As I said, I added custom zoom levels, which is super nice. You can zoom out a whole bunch and see what's going on around you. I fixed a bunch of other stuff, like the spider flying into the air when it dies, wonky ragdolling on basically everyone. Energy regen behaves properly now, so when you run out of energy, you can get your energy back pretty quick. I changed up the shading, you may notice, and I did that because a lot of the shading was material based. Now it's a post process, so it just kind of gets blanket applied to everything that's around here. So it's got this cell shading look to it, but it still looks good. This is really like drastically improving the performance in the city. You'll notice on my right hand of the screen I've got like 120 frames per second in the city, and last update I had like 45, so that's nice, that's super good. The next update will probably be focused around new enemies, maybe a new arena, like an actual arena that I can put into the final game, and hopefully a scoring system that I can implement next update as well, that will go with you, that'll persist through your sessions, so it kind of functions like an experience meter. The more total score you get, the more experience you get. So to recap, if you have any ideas on damage indicators or new stages, new abilities, new enemies, anything, give me a shout in the comments and I'll tell you what I thought, and maybe tell me what you think of what I've added this update to, any improvements I can make, anything that I did wrong, anything like that. I love feedback. I try to act on it as much as I can, because this game, you know, I want us both to make it. I want this to be something that not only I like, but you also like. You know the drill. Like the video, check out the Game Jolt and Twitter page, share the video around with your friends, whatever you do on YouTube, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Later days.